Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about the future of the Matrix because the studios are talking about making another Matrix movie. And I just want to talk about why I think it could work, but it has to be done the right way. Now they're talking about moving away from the original cast, so Neo and Trinity, and not taking that trope of what's been present in all the Matrix movies. That could work, but it is one very specific scenario that it could work in. Now, I want to talk about The Matrix briefly because when we look at the Matrix movies, we can all agree number one was the best. We all love number one. It's so iconic. We all can reminisce about how great number one was. But then when you get to movies like Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions, and then also, what's the other one? Resurrections. You know, these movies, these ones are all right because they were made in the same era. This one was pretty unanimously panned by critics, saying, Neo's not even really fighting during it, There was a lot of critiques about this. Now, he was filming John Wick at the same time, so we know he could do martial arts, but he wasn't going to jeopardize his John Wick pay. But with The Matrix, there is something we have not seen in The Matrix that if they did the scenario of letting it play out, then I believe a Matrix sequel number 5 could work without Neo and Trinity in it. And that is, we need to see the war. And what I mean by that is, we have seen so much of The Matrix. We have seen so much of Zion. We have seen so much of how this franchise could look and how it should look into the future. And if they just did a time jump and said, oh, this is 200 years after Neo and Trinity, or 500 years after Neo and Trinity, and even if they brought back Agent Smith or whatever, I don't think it would save the franchise. What they need to do is go backwards to the initial attack of the machines, when the war with the machine world and the human world started, and how the Matrix was developed, the original version of the Matrix, because obviously in Reloaded we hear from the architect that this is like the 6th version of the Matrix. Let's see the other versions of the Matrix. Let's see how the war started. When did humans go underground? How did they scorch the sky? This is the stuff that has not been explored in the Matrix property. And it just seems like a no-brainer for the Wachowskis to just pick it up and say, yep, let's do this in a different way that we haven't done it before. Now I'm looking at The Matrix and I'm saying, it's a franchise that is so ingrained and built around Keanu Reeves, Neo, and also Morpheus and Trinity. So you look at that franchise and say, would the audience accept a different version of The Matrix, a different telling of The Matrix? And there's actually an example we can point at very clearly in the Terminator franchise. Terminator Salvation tried to do this with the machine war. They tried to do this in the real world, or like after the war. They tried to show the war between the machines and humanity. Now, this was a product of its time. This movie didn't work. It was universally panned by critics. They had a fake AI Arnold Schwarzenegger in there. So I understand that these movies don't always do well. But imagine if you had... Look at this. We're going to do a thumbnail with this as well. Imagine if you had this with this. There, we'll get that thumbnail. But imagine if you had The Matrix, but told in this style. The war before The Matrix was developed. The war that ended humanity or made humanity to the brink of extinction. The machines are winning. Imagine if you had that. And I believe the Terminator has the same thing. I think you should have the Terminator War, show how the war started, show how, before John Connor, before any of that stuff, go back to the initial attack of the machines. Do the same thing with the Terminator. Maybe that's what Cameron intends to do when he has time to do it, when he's not playing with the blue aliens. I don't know. Sorry, James Cameron, I know you're doing well at the box office with Avatar. Not knocking Avatar, I just think James Cameron should be making a lot more movies. I think he's a major great director, and I want to see more from James Cameron in terms of what he could do with a Terminator movie, a new Terminator movie. But what I'm looking at is with The Matrix, we really haven't seen the war. We have not seen how humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction by the machines. We have not seen how the machine world was built. That face in the Matrix Revolutions where it's got all the robot things, I forget what they're called, Sentinels. That has all Sentinels as the face. Show how they thought that up. Show how they built the machine world on the surface of the Earth. Like, show if the machines went anywhere else outside of Earth. Show if they went to the moon and so on. this is what could work. This is what could actually work as a movie. This was what could work as The Matrix #5. And then you could have a trilogy of that because while #1 might not be great, and also, don't call it The Matrix. Don't call it The Matrix. I mean, yes, marketing-wise, you would want to call it The Matrix and tie it to The Matrix. But that would fall into the same trap as Furiosa, where you had to call it a Mad Max saga. I think a lot of people were just like, another Mad Max movie. If they had not put that there, if they had not had Mad Max in that, and it just had Furiosa, I think this movie would have had a much bigger box office and said, look at this, it's just a cool, kick-ass kind of movie. And I haven't seen it, sorry, I haven't seen it, but I did follow the marketing around this movie. If you just called that Furiosa, I think it would have done well. I think it would have done much better than it did. Because you're not tying it to a property that people are just like, man, another one? It's why you keep seeing Fast and Furious movies do like Fast 5 and Furious 11 and, there's all these sort of things, With Fast and Furious, they got to the point of where people were just fatigued. People were fatigued with the Fast and Furious. And so they had to start giving it fancy names like Fast 5 and Furious 6 and Faster and Furiouser and Too Fast, Too Furious. And I know Too Fast, Too Furious was when the audience still cared. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, does this make sense? Don't call it The Matrix. Just let people be pleasantly surprised when they walk into that cinema and at the end it's like, oh, this is a Matrix movie. And yes, they will know before they go in because trailers leak everything. But have the audience be able to say, okay, it's a Matrix movie, but it's not really a Matrix movie. That's how people were with Furiosa, but, Furiosa leaned too much into, oh, it's George Miller directing and it's a Mad Max movie, so, it's another one without Mel Gibson. But it can be done in a way that with The Matrix, show the machine world and get some big actors. Don't just do it as like, okay, we're just doing another sequel to The Matrix. Just get anyone. Let's get the most popular star in Hollywood. Let someone build into the character. Get someone who's on the rise. Definitely, maybe not Timothée Chalamet at the moment because of what he said about opera and thing. He's got a bit of controversy around him. But I could see him playing in a Matrix sequel. I could see him playing. You could also get like, who else is out there? I mean, you have the guy who was in he was in the wrestling movie. He was in that wrestling movie about the Von Erichs. So forget his name, but he played Kenny Von Erich, and he's also in that TV show about the chef. You could get him to play in a Matrix sequel. He's got a bit of acting range, but show the machine world. Show how the war started. This is what we have not seen from the Matrix, and it seems so obvious to the fans. It seems so obvious to myself that this is the pathway to go. Let's see the machine war. Let's see how it happened. Let's see something that commit to 3 movies. Don't just commit to one and say, okay, we'll do one, and if it fails, we won't do it again. Because that's what happened with Salvation. If they had stuck with Salvation and stuck with, okay, this is not a 1-picture deal, where our funding is for 3 pictures. We will authorize $500 million to have 3 pictures. Not 1, 3. We want to see it work across 3 different pictures. This could have worked as a 3-parter. This could have worked if you have part 1, part 2, and then part 3, the machines are, the Terminator world is done, and the humans have won. John Connor has won. If you have to have John Connor in there. But let's see that war. But that should have been a 3-parter. That never should have been a 1-parter. It should have had a 3-part arc. It's like Avatar. James Cameron has said Avatar is a 5-part arc. But when you look at Avatar, let's grab Avatar. We've got Avatar up to 1, 2, and 3. But you look at the optional 4 and 5 that James Cameron's been talking about and saying, there are options there to do part 4 and 5 if we want to. But you look at the franchise, it's kind of declining at the moment. So I don't know if part 4 and 5 of Avatar will be realistic. But the fact that James Cameron developed 5, ready to go, ready to be funded when the other ones are done, that's smart thinking. That's planning ahead. That's how you say, okay, how do we make sure that the audience doesn't get fatigued after number 3 or 4 or number 2? So that's how you plan out a franchise. That's how you say, okay, well, we're going to give them the machine war, but Salvation had nowhere to go. Where was it supposed to go from there? Let's have the machines win the initial one, and then part 2 you could have like the Empire Strikes Back sort of. But what do you think? Am I just kind of ranting here, or what do you think about the Matrix? Do you think it can be saved? Do you think the Matrix should show the war? Or do you think we just need another Keanu Reeves and Trinity, what's her name? Carrie-Anne Moss, isn't it? Is it Carrie-Anne Moss? I feel it's Carrie-Anne Moss, isn't it? Yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss. I don't know why I was having a brain fart there of her name, but do you feel we just need more of them two in each movie? Do you think we just need to see more of Keanu Reeves playing the Matrix, even though his heart is not in the Matrix anymore? You could see with number 4, he is. I mean, I'm sure he was told not to fight for insurance purposes for John Wick, but you could see how much he was like. Where is John Wick here? Let me just find John Wick. Where is John Wick? I'll pull it out and show you. You could tell how resigned he was because his heart is in this at the moment. His heart is in John Wick. That's where his heart was. Yes, he was doing a Matrix movie, but you could tell he was saving all the good stuff for John Wick. And I get you don't want multiple martial arts movies, sort of fighting movies out there with the same actor and letting the audience choose. But if he didn't want to do the Matrix 4, why did he sign up for it? And yes, the audience has an expectation of, oh, we want Keanu Reeves, we want Neo. It's like, at a certain point, the Terminator just became the Arnold Schwarzenegger franchise, and then they had to bring back Lincoln Hamilton because the Connor franchise, you just have to have one of the Connors and one of Arnold Schwarzenegger at some point because it doesn't work without either of them. The one that dared to be different, the only one that dared to be different was Salvation. That's the only one that dared to be different in the Terminator. And it failed, yes, it was a fail, but man, if it succeeded and they had an actual plan of how to develop a 3-part deal, who knows what we could have had with Salvation. The Matrix must show the war. The Matrix must do something different. But that's where I want to end it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Go and follow me on TikTok, Jamie Toomey Presents. Also, I'm on Instagram now, Jamie Toomey Presents as well. I've also got a couple of other channels here on YouTube. You can find them all on my main YouTube channel. I've got a playlist of all my stuff in one place. I've also got a couple of other things, a couple of other playlists, and you can subscribe to everything. But let me know what you think. Watch the end screens, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.